Is a $100 solar panel any good? Let's find out. Stick around and we'll get right to it. So I recently picked up this new solar panel off of Amazon with the coupon right now. This is the 60 watt version and you can pick it up for $99. They also have a 100 watt version, and I believe with the coupon that they're running right now on that one, you can get it for about $150. Let's dive into the bag and see what we get for the $100. Now let's start by opening up the back part of this bag that they give you. It is a fairly nice carry bag, not great zippers, but it would probably work at least for a little while. We've got some cables back here that looks like barrel connector to barrel connector. We've got another barrel connector to a smaller barrel connector. So it looks like on one end of that is 5.5 millimeter. I'm not sure what that other size is. Then in this other pouch over here, we've got these stands. Now, honestly, I'm not very impressed with these stands. Let's see if I can even get them out of the bag today. These are pretty low end, let me just say that. But they do allow you to stand up the panel. You've got to get this angled the way you want it. Then you can tighten up the wing nuts here and prop up the solar panel. Like I said, I just didn't find that they worked very well. Would they work in a pinch? Yeah, they probably would, but not something that I'm probably going to be relying on. And then again, it just adds extra bulk and extra weight to this kit. So not real pleased with those. In fact, most of this stuff I'm just going to set to the side, except for the panel itself. That's everything in that side of the bag. Let's flip this guy over and take a look at what's in the other side of this bag. So a couple more zipper pockets right on the top of the bag, just like on the other side. We've got, looks like any kind of barrel connector adapter that you might need. So those are there if you want those. We can also adapt to the MC4 connectors if that's something you're interested in. I have no clue what that adapter is, but all kinds of adapters in this bag, so it should be able to get you connected up to any sort of battery or solar charge controller that you need. Maybe you're running a Jackery solar generator. This should have no problems connecting up to it with one of these adapters. They also give us a couple of carabiners in the pack if you wanted to use those to hang the panel up. And then we've got some alligator clips that we can use as well. So quite a few different types of adapters in this bag. But this is really what I wanted to take a look at. This is the panel itself. Let's set that bag over to the side. Now, this is the generation after the one I currently own. I have owned this one for about 2 years now, so we'll be taking a look at some of the differences between the older generation and the newer generation panel. Both of these are 60 watt panels, so when we start comparing them to see what the output is between the two, it will be pretty much an apples to apples comparison. The panel itself comes in just under 4 pounds at around 3 pounds and 14 ounces. The dimensions on it are 8 by 10 inches and roughly 2 inches thick at its widest point right here. You can see, hopefully on camera, you can make out that that sticks up a little bit away from the panel. So all of this equates to about 2 inches. Now, you do have several different types of output on this panel. You've got a DC 19 volt socket, which is what I use when we're charging the lithium iron phosphate batteries. You've also got a USB-A, a USB-C, and a DC 14.4 volt. The documentation will tell you that DC 14.4 volt port should only be used with the old style batteries, SLAs or gel cells, something like that, but you should not use that with lithium iron phosphate batteries. Now let's contrast that to the previous generation where we only had 2 USB-A ports and the DC output port. So it's nice to see that they have included USB-C on this one, and the fact that if you are running those older style batteries, you could charge direct from the panel, I'm assuming with no solar charge controller, although I'm not exactly sure how that works. That's just not something that I dug into since I'm running all lithium iron phosphate batteries at this point. But let's go ahead and head outside and see how these things perform. Okay, so first up, I have connected up the old panel just to see what kind of output we're getting out of it. And that looks like around 2.25, 2.3 amps or so. Now, I have these both hanging side by side on my deck. It is winter here in Tennessee, so we don't have the greatest of sun angle. So this is probably not the max output that you would see from this panel, but it still gives us an apple-to-apple comparison between both of these panels. So there's what we're looking at for the first one. Give me just a second. Let me swap the panels around and connect up to the new one, and let's see what kind of output we're getting from it. So it looks like we're getting just slightly more output out of the new panel. I'm reading roughly 2.77, 2.78 amps out of the new one. So that's probably almost half an amp extra that we're getting out of the new panel versus the old panels. I can't complain too much about that at all. And just for the fun of it, I went ahead and connected both panels to the solar charge controller, and it looks like combined I'm getting just over 5 amps out of the two panels. Now, keep in mind when you're looking at the numbers that I just recorded, today is December the 17th. I'm only about 4 days away from winter solstice here in Tennessee. These panels will give you a bit more output during the summer months when we've got better sunlight conditions. I've seen somewhere around 3.25 amps coming out of my old one, so I would expect to see at least that coming out of the new one, if not a little bit more. So what's my final verdict on these panels? Well, I've been rocking this old one for roughly 2 years now, and I grab this one more often than I grab my PowerFilm panel, just because I like the 60 watt output versus the 30 watt of the current PowerFilm that I have. So if you're looking for something that is small, foldable, and affordable, I don't think you can go wrong with these panels. I like the upgrades that I'm seeing on this newer version that gives us the USB-C, so we could charge a cell phone direct from the panel if we wanted to. And then we also have that USB-A. Now, I didn't check the amperage outputs on either one of those ports. I typically don't use anything connected direct to the panel itself. I always put a solar charge controller in the mix. That just gives me an extra layer of protection in case something goes haywire with the panel and it starts putting out too much voltage. That solar charge controller by BuddyPole is going to give me that extra layer of protection. So if you're looking for something that's small, affordable, and foldable, definitely check these panels out. I'll leave links down in the description below if you're interested. Thanks as always for tuning in today. Be sure to give us a thumbs up before you head off. We will see you guys on the next one. Until then, 7-3.